Hi guys, welcome to Okama Otaku. Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to be talking about Chainsaw Man Volume 1. I am really excited to talk about Chainsaw Man. I just discovered it just a few days ago. I'm currently in Volume 8 of the series, of Part 1, and let me tell you, it's a wild-ass ride. It's a shonen series, action, comedy, thriller, all those good things. I am just such a fan. So much so that I decided to use it as my anchor series for this here YouTube channel. Correct? Okay. And in pursuit of that goal, I've decided I'm going to do a series of volume reviews of the series. Part 1 has already ended. There were 11 volumes. I'm making my way through it at a blistering pace, but I decided to stop here and run a few videos of down each arc. Now, I'm kind of new to the review thing, not new to consuming, but more new to creating my own. And you would think that after so many years of consuming content from various One Piece YouTubers and their various formats, I would have had a better idea about how to go about this. I honestly couldn't decide if it would have been easier for me to approach this from a volumetric standpoint or from a story arc standpoint. But after I looked over the wiki and looked through the series, it really just felt more to me like like the volume structure was just a bit more structured for me, and so I decided that I was going to use that. And so let's go. Volume 1 of Chainsaw Man is titled Dog and Chainsaw. It covers chapter 1 through 7, and that covers the introduction arc and about halfway through the Bat Devil arc of the series. And the author's note for the volume is that he loves chainsaws. That's Tatsuki Fujimoto. His article is I love chainsaws for volume 1. Okay, so let's get to the cover first, because I want to try and make sure I appreciate the art, because this series, the art is actually pretty fucking top notch. I'm not gonna hold you. And so the cover for Dog and Chainsaw, Volume 1 of Chainsaw Man, features Denji in his Chainsaw Man form with the chainsaw at his head and chainsaw at both of his arms, and it's got a red background, well, orange red background, really vibrant with yellow lettering on it, and you can see him standing atop a pile of zombie corpses with green blood just gushing everywhere from him having used his chainsaws to just fuck him up, and that's relevant to the events of Volume 1, obviously. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a cover. Ah, so again, Volume 1 is it's the beginning of the series. The plot of it is pretty simple. It's just the introduction, why it's called the introduction arc. And it's just to let us know about Denji, who is a poor guy who will basically do anything for money, including hunt down devils with his pet chainsaw devil dog, Pochita. He's a simple guy with simple dreams, drowning under like a fuck ton of debt, like somewhere to the tune of like 35 million. I feel like I should have written that down because I feel like it's a reasonably important story beat, but whatever. And his sad life gets kind of turned around when he gets betrayed by somebody that he trusts, which I don't know why he trusts the guy, but whatever. But now, with the power of the chainsaw devil inside him, Denji has become a whole new man. Chainsaw Man. It's the shit. God. Okay, so that's the general plot of what's going on in Volume 1. The characters that we're introduced to in Volume 1 include such the likes of Denji, he's our main protagonist, Pochita, which is, as I mentioned, Denji's pet chainsaw devil dog, that they both died, and Pochita took over his dead body in order to revive them and become Chainsaw Man, and now he lives within Denji as his heart, has this cool ass rip cable for like a lawnmower or a chainsaw sticking out of his chest that he uses to activate his powers. It's the shit. There's Makima, who is the head of the Devil Hunters Association. I forget what it's actually called right now. I blitzed through the series in like a few days, so some of the details I had to soak in. Then there's Aki Hayakawa, who is essentially Sasuke. At least at the beginning of the series, except he's got a little nuance that we'll get into in later reviews. Then there's also Power, who is what is known as a fiend in the series. We'll get more into her later on. And we also meet Meowie, who is Power's one and only friend on the planet. And aside from that, we also run into our first slew of enemies in the series, in Volume 1, obviously. The main villains in Chainsaw Man are devils, and as I addressed in my expectation versus reality video, the devils encompass everything. They can be person, places, or things, like dead ass any noun or concept. We meet the Tomato Devil in the first chapter. Also, the people who betrayed Denji was an old Yakuza guy and his henchmen. We also meet the Zombie Devil, the Muscle Devil, the Sea Cucumber Devil, and the Bat Devil. And the Bat Devil is like the first real villain. He gets a whole arc named after him and shit. So let's get into it. So in chapter 1, it's the beginning. We meet Denji and Pachita. They're working for the Yakuza guy, the old guy I mentioned a minute ago, to pay off his dead dad's debt, which, as I mentioned, was somewhere to the tune of 34 million yen. There's even like a scene where he goes through and it's like counting off all the shit he did recently to try and get some money, and then the stuff he sold was like a kidney, a testicle, I think like an eyelash, some dumb shit, like wild shit, and he didn't really make much money off of it. And then he goes say, well, I can make this much money if I just kill, the demons and whatnot. And at that point, we revealed the massive debt that he inherited from his dead dad, and that he is now being pressured by the Yakuza to pay back, to work for them to pay back. And so he gets called to kill a Tomato Devil. He does it. He gets paid a sum, and then of course he has to deduct different fees and the finder fees and blah, blah, blah. He ends up walking away with barely any money. And then he gets paid 100 yen extra to eat a cigarette. By the Yakuza guy's driver, who's a dickhead. But he's not an idiot because he takes the cigarette, puts it in his mouth, and then spits it out in the driveway just to get the extra money. We learned that he met Pachita and formed a contract when way back when he encountered him and Pachita was injured. So in order to help him heal, they formed a contract, which is how the devil powers with devil hunters work in this series. You have to offer up something and make a contract with them so you can use their power. And so their contract was very simple. He just held his arm out and let Pachita bite his arm and drain some of his blood so he could heal. And then it's kind of like tick a stage ever since then. Later on, we learned that Denji's mom died from some mysterious heart condition that had her coughing up blood, and after the dream in which he dreams about Pochita, he wakes up and he's coughing up blood too. We learned that. Spoiler alert, it goes on to, I'm pretty sure it goes on, I haven't finished the series yet, but I think it's going to go on to not mean anything, because like the regeneration rate and healing that they display in the series, I'm pretty sure that whatever the heart condition was is no longer a factor anymore. But later, he gets betrayed by the old man who lures him to his warehouse and and basically serves him up on a platter to the zombie devil. But then there's a twist when we find out that that happened because the old man and his henchmen made a contract with the zombie devil, which they didn't know would turn them into zombies. Which is why the volume cover features him slicing up zombies and green blood going everywhere. And so the devil then proceeds to command all the zombies to slice up and kill Denji and Pochita and leave them in a dumpster. Very fucked up scene. I didn't expect it to go that way, but it's shonen, so they like to go for that sometimes. And while they're in the dumpster, it's fucked up. They got like Denji's chopped up in pieces, and Pochita's just like cut in half. Well, he's having thoughts, right? So Pochita is remembering that they had a deal where Denji told him that if anything were to happen to them, then Pochita can essentially take over his body and go on and live out their dreams, which we'll get into it later on. But neither of them have very, very, very particularly lofty dreams. Pochita's only dreams seem to be to let Denji follow his dreams, and Denji's only dreams, we're gonna later find out, are to be able to eat 3 hot meals a day and to sleep. And who doesn't want that? So whatever. Okay, so after Pochita's flashback, he does indeed take over Denji's body. Taking over his body is a rough term for what it is, because it's not like a possession. They kind of fused, I would say. But Denji remained in control. And afterwards, he comes out with this rip cable on his chest, pulls the rip cable, this transforms into Chainsaw Man, and proceeds to lay waste to all the zombies and the zombie devil. After he's done, we are introduced to Makima, who offers Denji the chance to either die, like the devil that she sees him as, or to live on as her pet and work for her hunting devils. Obviously, he chose to go and live on with Makima because she's very pretty, one of the prettiest girls he's ever met, the first person to treat him like a human being, and all again he wants is to be able to eat good food every day and sleep well, which she promises him he'll be able to do if he goes and lives with her as her pet. So we're here. Then we get into chapter 2, titled "The Place Where Pochita Is." Makima sends Denji to fight a muscle devil and save some small child that it was trying to abduct. And then she tells him that he smells like a human and a devil, and that Pochita is alive and well within him as his heart now, and the whole reason he can transform. The muscle devil was fucked up. It was exactly what it sounded like. It was a devil that was a muscle, and it, like if it touched you, it can control any of the muscles on your body. So it went through this whole thing. It looked really cute. It looked well. It looked as cute as a devil could look at first, and then he like tries to spring it on Digi, and Digi fucks him up. So that was fun. Very short chapter, not a lot going on there. The first chapter was definitely the longest, as it usually is, 54 pages. Everything since then has been pretty standard length. So then we move on to chapter 3, Arrival in Tokyo. Makima takes Denji to the Devil Hunters Tokyo HQ and explains about the Public Safety Devil Hunters. That's what they're called, the Public Safety Organization. But he's a little simple, and he can really only think about his 3 meals and a bed that he wants, that he was promised. At this point, he meets Sasuke. Sorry. I mean, Aki Hayakawa. And shockingly, they hate each other. Like, really, really fucking hate each other. Aki takes him to an alleyway and beats his ass. Like, God, it was what you expect. It's kind of brutal, but then they go back and attack each other. Denji gets back up and like, whew, viciously assaults his testicles. Later on, he comes back and they tell Makima that he was attacked by a testicle demon. It was hilarious, but Makima eventually tells Denji that he's going to be working on Aki's squad, and Denji wonders if she's a good person or a bad person. And to be quite honest with you, I'm wondering the same thing. But we'll get into that later on. In a later review, I imagine. Like, there's going to be some reveals. There's going to be some reveals around Makima. I don't know what just yet. I'm only, like I said, I'm only on volume 8 myself, but there's been about 5 instances in the series where I saw her on the panel and I read it and I was just like, girl, what are you? What are you? So we don't know yet, but mark my words. There's going to be something happening with her. Okay, so anyway, we move on to chapter 4, which was titled Power. And for good damn reason. Because we meet Best Girl this chapter. So Denji and Aki live together now. They go on a mission where we learn what a fiend is. And a fiend is essentially a devil that has possessed a dead body. They go over some philosophies about devil hunting and being a person in general. And Denji does a mercy killing on the devil that they went to go and destroy. That was only because there were porn magazines under the devil and he didn't want to like splatter those in blood. He really wants to, watch porn. Which, he's a man of culture. Can't be mad at him. And we also are revealed Denji's real dream this chapter, which is now to touch a pair of boobs, because he's never gotten to spend much time around boobs. Can't relate to the desire to touch boobs, but I mean, I have a pair, so whatever. Afterwards, Makima decides to partner Denji with Power, with a female fiend. A female fiend that was created by the Blood Devil, so she can like control blood and make weapons and shit out of it. It's lit. So we move on to chapter 5, which is titled A Way to Touch Some Boobs. I was like, oh shit, alright, go ahead. In this chapter, Denji and Power go on patrol together. Power reveals that she's the Blood Devil, and the devil stay away from her because she can tell how powerful she is. They can tell how powerful she is. And Denji is dismayed by this because that fact means that devil won't be approaching him as much, and he won't get as much of a chance to show that he's useful. Because again, as per Makima's instructions, if he doesn't prove he's useful, then they're going to kill him like a devil. Same thing goes for Power. So they're kind of like trying to help each other out. But they're talking about that, and then she goes on to randomly make a hammer out of her blood. So every time she uses her powers, it's so cool. The blood just kind of like spurts out of her fist and just kind of forms into wherever she needs it to be. So she makes a hammer, jumps over a railing, and brings the hammer down on a sea cucumber devil. It was gross. Such good drawing. Oh my gosh. And we then learned that Power lost, and then afterwards, we learned that Power lost a pet that she called Meowie, and that if Denji can help her get that cat back, then he can touch her boobs. And Denji's like, game on. He's very simple. Throughout the series, he's met with a number of choices like that where you could do some wild shit in order to get like a relatively small reward in as compensation. But because of the way he's lived his life, as they expressed in the series, simple shit is all he wants. So like simple shit like the ability to touch some breasts for the first time, or just eat a hot meal every day, those are really appealing to him. Plus, he's only 16 years old and dirt poor. I'm talking about eating single slices of bread for dinner, dirt poor. So I kind of get it. And then we go to chapter 6, which is titled Service. And so in this chapter, the pair, that's Denji and Power, they get permission, as they need permission because they're both non-humans, to go after the cat, to like take a day off and go after the cat. Apparently, Power knows where it is, but she can't get too close because it's being held hostage by another devil. And if she goes too close to it, it will kill them. It will kill the cat. So Denji has to fight. They arrive at the location and they find the Bat Devil, and they have power promptly betray Denji and serve him up on a platter to the devil. Like, bitch, I was just liking you. Like, you just got here. But she's a devil, she's a fiend, and so, these things are to be expected. And then we hit chapter 7, which is called Meowie's Whereabouts. So, we introduced to Meowie in this chapter, who is Power's one and only friend on the planet. After Power serves up Denji on a platter to the Bat Devil, the Bat Devil then goes to betray Power by eating her cat whole in the cage it's in, because he feels that Denji was a disgusting meal and a poor source of blood, which I can get it. He's not even human. I can get you not being a fan of eating him, whatever. And then, as a result of her cat being eaten in front of her, Power suddenly can understand how Denji felt when they talked earlier about him losing Pochita and how sad that made him. She didn't understand it at the time, but now, since her cat is effectively out of her reach, she understands it. And next, before the Bat Devil decides to go out and cleanse his palate by eating more tasty humans, he eats Power. Full stop. He eats her whole and just takes off flying. And it's like, oh, what is it? I had to know how to feel about it, because I was like, well, bitch, you did just betray Denji, so good for you. But, whatever. She's the best girl in the series. And so after he eats her, takes off. And then while he's just kind of like doing his thing, kind of flying across the way, he's running through in the chapter. He's like running through his list of different types of humans that he wants to eat for like his entree, appetizer, and dessert and shit. It was a whole wild shit. But as he's doing this, he looks down at his leg and he notices that Denji is clinging onto his leg and drinking his blood to heal, because devils and fiends and whatnot, they have to drink blood from each other or wherever in order to heal their injuries. And so Denji's hanging onto his bat as he flies away to try and go and find new prey, and he's drinking his blood to heal his own wounds. And then he transforms and begins to slice the devil up. And that's pretty much where that chapter ends. And it also ends the volume. Now that puts us about halfway through the Bat Devil arc. There will be a few more chapters of that. Well, actually, several more chapters of that in volume 2, which we will get to in my next video. I know this was a little bit rambly. I'm still trying to work out my camera presence and work out my format, but I hope you enjoyed. I hope this video wasn't too long. When I sat down, I thought that I would be able to keep it under 10 minutes. That's not happening. So, I hope that you enjoyed. If you did, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And please join me next time for volume 2 of our Chainsaw Man reviews. Goodbye.